I'm Mike Renato, my good buddy Sean Webb, Athletic Motion Golf. Sean, there is one issue in the golf swing that we see every single day, without question, the most common mistake we see golfers make, whether they're new to the game or have been playing the game for 30 years.
Yeah, and it causes some of the worst shots you ever see, including the weak, high right shot that flies way up in the air and lands 20 yards shorter than you expect. We've all been there.
That's exactly right. Causes the fat shot, which is the number one shot golfers complain about. It's responsible for both of those. Today's video, we're going to show you how to get rid of that shot, how to fix that mistake, and you're going to do it today. So what's the big mistake that we see day in, day out, all day long?
Open club face.
All right, and by that, what we mean is at any point during the golf swing, we'll call that a close or a square club face.
Squarish, yep.
That would be closed, again, relative to the ground. This would be open to really open, and this is where, in this window here, is where the golfing population lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And it causes, like we said in the intro, it causes so many bad shots, high slices. Because the face is open, it affects your release, so then you start hitting it fat, right? You hit the ball too high, you cast. So there's a whole lot of issues that come from just having this face a little bit too open.
Right, and we're talking about, launch monitors are pretty common now in golf. We can measure down to the 10th of a degree. So we're talking about small amounts of open can really have a bad effect on your golf shot. So if your normal miss pattern is like this, a little better club face can bring it in this way.
Yeah.
Plus the distance that you suffer from an open club face.
Yeah, because talking about that distance, a lot of times with an open face you're going to cast, which destroys any chance you have in speed. But also you're usually going to have this shaft kind of angled back when you make contact, so you're going to lose distance just because you're not compressing the ball and launching it at the right angle.
Right, and golfers instinctively know something's not right because they hit the shot and they see it shrimp out to the right, or they see it come up shorter, they see it, feel it fat, right? But it's always not very easy to diagnose even the shanks caused by an open club face.
Absolutely.
But it's not easy to diagnose when you're out there and you're the one hitting the shots. So we're going to show you ways to really kind of dial in on that and fix it.
Yeah, and I want to add something to that. So a lot of times the kind of progression goes something like this. Like you may hit a shot. Let me stand in here, Mike. Okay. And I'm going to hit an easy one. So
shoot out there to the flag.
Yeah, sorry. You might hit a shot that goes weak off to the right, okay? So normally, let's say you're playing with your buddies, right? Like, oh, you aimed over there, right? So then you start aiming more left, but you didn't fix the root cause. And we know that the club face is the CEO of the swing.
That's right.
If it's off track, a lot of times you're going to make body movements to try to start the ball on line or make a swing to start on line. So now they tell you to aim more left. Well, didn't fix anything. Well, I can hit a ball.
Now you're hitting sweeping face. So,
but I'm playing, but I'm not playing the right way, and it's not going to be much fun because you're going to be a slicer the rest of your life.
So the first lesson to learn there is do not listen to your buddies.
Ever.
Because they're trying to get in your pocket, first of all, right?
And it may have good intentions. It's just I just don't know that. A lot of people don't even think about that.
Well, the swing happens like that.
Yeah, and you can't see that.
That's right. You can't see the actual cause. You can see, okay, yeah, you may have had a bad aim, but that's not the cause of it.
Absolutely.
So you adding another Band-Aid on top of an already issue
You're a slicer for
rarely
life.
Works out. It's exactly right. Chronic slicers. All right? So we're going to come back here in just a second and really kind of dial in on what should be happening and then share with you some drills to really fix this issue today. Sean, it's a big deal, right? The club face is open for so many golfers out there really struggling with the game. When do we see it open? Not very many people set up with it wide open, so at some point from setup to impact, that club face gets open.
Yeah, and funny you say that about setup. And a lot of times what people do, they have a weakish grip, and then they set the club behind the ball and they see that the face is open. And instead of strengthening their grip, they twist the club to make it look straight.
With the same grip.
Yeah. And so, no, it doesn't look open, but in relationship to your grip, you've got an open attachment.
That's right.
Because if I just kind of took a normal looking grip, you can see how laid back that face is. And I see it all the time. So they're in here set up kind of like this.
Yep.
Now, as soon as they take it back, the club's going to wheel open, and now they've got to do something to try to get this ball on line. So it can happen in the setup.
Before it even starts.
Your best bet, get the club vertical here, then get your hands on there a little stronger with the left hand, a little stronger with the right, maybe a little more underneath with the right. We've got tons of grip videos.
Absolutely.
Once you do that, what may happen to a lot of you is the face now looks really shut.
Right.
Now, do not change your grip. Twist your forearms a little bit. Now you've totally changed your attachment to the club. It's shut to square, which is going to help a ton of you.
You have a really cool little uppercut move that you do with the right hand. Show them what that is.
Yeah, so a lot of people bring this right hand in high, which again puts an open kind of a grip on the club. Basically, the grip's open compared to where your hands are, or the face is open. So I'll have them get their left hand on where they can see a couple knuckles, and then put their right hand on inside their right thigh and swing it upward to the grip.
So it's like here,
Yeah.
and then an uppercut move, right?
Yeah.
Boom. Rather than boom.
100%, because when they bring it high, the right shoulder gets high, the right hand gets weak, and again, the club starts to wheel to face up on the backswing, and you know, grip, set up to takeaway, the swing is over.
Right, so we've got, before the club moves, we got the face square now.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about this takeaway and backswing. Do you see a lot of opening happening then?
Oh, absolutely a ton.
Okay.
So I've got this little training aid here. We call it this kind of Swiss Army knife of training aids. And what it's good for is just getting a sense for where the club face is. So a lot of you are right away, even if you have a good grip and a square face that it's set up, you're wheeling this thing open or rolling it open so it hits your right forearm. And from, I mean, I see this in lessons. Face to the sky, right?
Golfers trying to shallow the club.
Yeah, and they're trying to do it right here
Yes.
on the backswing. So a better way to do that is to feel like, a lot of you are going to feel like the face goes back a little more shut. You can see that this thing lines up a lot better with my forearm. I've got a bend in the back of my right wrist, and the left wrist is pretty flat, and that face should be pretty vertical right there.
Yeah, but saying by vertical, it means the leading edge of that club is pretty perpendicular to the ground. We don't want it, I can attach this here, to be like that. And we really don't want it like that, because that's going to hurt us. We usually see golfers open it up because of that.
Yeah.
Somewhere around vertical to slightly less than vertical.
Yeah, so once you get to that spot, I feel like the rest of the swing is pretty simple. Just a little more arm lift, a little more rotation, and I've got it pretty much set at the top. So once you get through the grip, once you get through this feeling of having a little more shut here, especially if you're a roller, because if you roll, you're also underplaying. So this kind of fixes two birds with one stone, right? The club's in a better spot here on the plane.
You made a really good point. Go back to that kind of shaft parallel spot. When you get right here and this is all organized really well, there's not a lot left to do with here.
No, there's not.
With the hands and wrist. It's more of a body turn now.
Yeah.
And a little, just a tiny bit of arm lift.
A little elbow fold, which gets the arms up, you know, where they need to be. And that's pretty much about it, right?
That's exactly right. That's where we see this really closed face early get. And then as you get to the top,
100%.
it opens up. So
100%.
it's really important to nail literally the first few feet of the backswing. Can really make or break that last 3/4 of the backswing.
You know, Mike and I talk a lot about how we're backswing teachers. I think the more and more we talk about this, we're like set up and takeaway teachers.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if you can nail this first part of the swing, it makes the rest of it so much easier.
That's exactly right. Now, so we've gotten them to the top, right?
Okay.
Hopefully now you're not opening the club face on the backswing.
Yeah.
Now what do we see on the downswing where golfers manage to open the club face?
So they come out of the top, and maybe in an attempt to get lag, or a poor attempt to get lag, they know that they're in their mind they're trying to increase the angle between this club, angle between the club and the lead arm.
They're trying to get the club going more back this way.
Yeah, and to do that, a lot of times they have to cup the left wrist to do it because they think that's what they need to do to get speed.
Right, because anatomically the wrist doesn't move that way.
If it's
so
flat.
you either let the thumb go, right, then you got a whole nother set of issues, open club face, or you just cup the wrist back and you can kind of manage it that way.
And you can see that this training aid comes off my wrist, the face starts to point behind the shaft in this direction. Now I'm so open that, okay, I've got a problem, right? I either have to cast and scoop, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Or it's so open I have to time this last second flip to get the ball to go and play, and those are the guys that shoot 90, 75, 98, 79.
Because that club is coming so far inside that you have to time this really slamming door of a club face.
Yeah, it's so open that the timing aspect of it, you have to flip it perfectly, and I know a lot of you have felt that.
See a lot of shankers from there.
Yeah, especially if it's laid open here at last parallel. There's not much time to do anything else. And I think a lot of it, and Mike, you know, we talk about this a lot, golfers don't have a sense of where the true club face is. Because this is not a baseball bat,
Right.
the mass of the face is actually offset from the
Yeah,
shaft.
we're trying to hit with this part, which isn't what you're holding on to.
No, golfers are pulling on this shaft, but they feel powerful pulling it and pulling the heel into it because that's all they've ever known.
That's right.
But you know what you're really trying to lag is this sweet spot, right?
That's exactly
and
right.
have that feel.
Exactly right. So it can happen literally how you hold the club. It can certainly happen when you start moving the club, right? This club face gets open. And then all that can be great. And then on the downswing, if you're trying to gain lag, shallow it in many cases, we see a really open club face. All of those areas coming down, cupping the left wrist, that can open it. And again, it's a quarter of a second from up here to here. The longer you come down with an open club face,
There's no time.
you're greatly reducing your odds of squaring it at impact.
There's no time.
All right, so now let's come back with some drills so we can knock this out today. All right, so now let's look at the drills to really get rid of this open club face.
Okay.
Hopefully once and for all. So we already touched on it in our setup, in our early takeaway. Let's show the Swiss Army knife again here in action.
Okay, so at setup, I've got it kind of between my arms, right?
Yep.
Take away, it starts to line up with my arm. I might have it just barely, not quite touching, but in line
Face
with
the
it.
camera and show them that setup.
This setup? Yeah.
So we see a lot of golfers get it over here and they take it back and it opens immediately.
Or they roll it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So let's put it right between the forearms.
Uh-huh. Okay, and I have this a little off center just so that it sets up to where when I actually set it, my wrist becomes flat.
That's right.
Okay, or really neutral. So once I get there, I know it's in line with my forearm. I check the face, make sure the face is straight up and down or slightly closed. From there, I take it to the top, right? I'm not trying to bend this training aid at all. I know if I have it lined up that things are going to be in good shape, because if I have it lined up here, the face is vertical or horizontal to the sky or slightly away from me,
That's
right?
exactly right.
Now when I start down, it kind of just stays in front of my arm or right here on my arm. I know the face is square there. And then at impact, I want it on top. And I know it's square there. So that's a drill you can just do in slow motion.
Let's do all of that from face on because
Okay.
we're going to see some really cool things here. So as we get near the top, you are not trying to ram this into your arm.
No.
Right? We see a lot of golfers who use these training aids are really wanting the training aid to do the work for them. We want the opposite. A good training aid will force you to do the correct motions. We want to keep this off the forearm.
Yeah, and I think I would like more of a gradual hinge too, which helps with the face being square, because guys that hinge really late, a lot of times there's so much momentum with the club hinging late that it ends up cupping their wrist. So it's kind of a gradual hinge. Pretty much your wrist will be done in this area. Take it to the top, slowly come down, make sure it's in line with your arm. Put it back on top. It'll be on top again here. It's just a
And then
gradual,
comes back up and pitches up the other side.
gradual release through the ball. And if you do that, again, we always talk about just kind of plain vanilla bread and butter swings. Get the club on plane, get the face square with some feedback. Do that drill in slow motion a lot, and then slowly build up to hitting some balls, and you're gonna like what you see because the face is gonna be square.
Well, the key there is feedback, and this is a great training aid for that because you're going to know, you're going to feel it if you're overdoing it, you're going to feel it if you cup, you're going to start slapping the right forearm if you're not doing it right.
If you do it wrong, you're on the right forearm.
That's exactly right. You're going to get a lot of good feedback, and in a little bit we'll show you how to get one of these training aids for free.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about if you don't have one of these. We got a really good drill, and the first place I saw this was Brian Manzella did a really cool thing. So let me have you set up here at our flag. I'm going to shrink myself down to a sweet spot.
Okay.
That's right. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
All right,
I'm imagining that.
So back to the issue of golfers are really used to lagging what they're holding on to.
Yeah.
Which is the shaft and the hosel.
Yeah, that way.
Right. We've got to get this sweet spot to the ball, right? So if you're like most golfers, you can have your wife, girlfriend, son, daughter, whatever. When you go to the top, have them put their finger, you're going to hook your finger, have them put their finger right there. I'm touching the sweet spot of the club. Now, if you're like most golfers, you're going to do this. You're going to slide, just come down, straight down. You're going to slide right off. What Sean has to do, he's got to turn this face so it keeps the hook coming down. Right there. Keep turning it, keep turning it. There we go.
And there it is. Still in line with my arm. Comes in square. The cool part about that is when he's doing that, I can see that I can have shaft lean with the face square now.
That's exactly
And
right.
all of you are trying to get that spot, right?
Well, that's a great point. Shaft lean essentially opens the club face.
Yeah, because if I did this, that's
Right.
open.
So if the club face is coming down open and you're a guy who wants shaft lean, you're going to quit golf because the ball is going to go so far out to the right.
yeah, and then you're going to start making compensations.
That's exactly right.
But as Mike hooked my finger, now I can see, okay, the face is square. I can rotate my body without fear of this ball going right, and I'm automatically going to get shaft lean. And, you know, the part of that makes sense to me is that you can't just get impact.
Right. Exactly.
All the things have to be in line before that happens.
Impact is kind of that split second
It's fleeting.
spreadsheet on what you did right before all that.
That's right.
Right. And me being a 110-pound version of that sweet spot, right? You had no inclination to do this. You had really wanted to pull it all the way through, correct?
Yeah, and then I could see how I could have the hands forward and the face square. My body could start to open. Everything everybody's trying to do, the face is the king of that.
Absolutely.
Because if it's not where it needs to be, you're not going to be able to do anything you want to do with your body or the club shaft or the path or anything.
If you're a big open face golfer, you can forget shaft lean until you fix the face, right?
If you can't rotate,
If you want to compress the ball more, you can forget that until you learn to control the face. If you want to rotate more, forget that until you control the face.
if that face is open and you actually do rotate, you're
You're-
going to hit shanks and high right balls.
No, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, you'll stop
That's
doing
exactly
it. You'll
right.
try it once.
So the idea again, club face is the king, it's the CEO, it controls pretty much everything we do in golf, and it's by far the #1 biggest issue we see day in, day out. Give these drills a try, get a really good training aid like this, get your best friend, son, daughter, whatever, to be the sweet spot so you can really see how that starts to close and when it starts to close very early in the downswing, and you'll be way better for it, and it won't take long to do.
No.
If you found this video helpful and you need more help with your consistency, we want to help you with that. Go to the first comment below this video. You'll see a link. It's our first pinned comment. There'll be a link in there. Click on that link. We'll take you to our #1 consistency drill to help you hit the ball more solidly and more consistent every time you're out on the course.